What is up, YouTube? That's it here, and today I'm back bringing you guys another VGC team fixing video. This is a team that was submitted on my Patreon. If you guys have a team you want to submit for me to fix in a video just like this one, think about checking out the Patreon, link in the description. Even the lowest tier, the $2 tier, gets access to everything on there, as well as the official team submission post. So this is the very first team in this month's submission post, and it features Scizor, Salamence, Talonflame. These are some of my absolute favorite Pokemon. This is an already amazing rental code, and I'm so happy they submitted it. Let's check out the official team submission post right here, and go check it out here. Again, this is the post right here. This is a team that's submitted by F-Bomb. They say, hey, I built this Reg F team that is intended for best of 3. That features Salamence, their favorite Pokemon, and Scizor. I would like to hear your input, and I hope you enjoy it. They included a rental code, they included a Poke Paste. We're going to be including the Poke Paste, the rental code, and the fixed Poke Paste that we fix at the end of the video in the description. If you guys want to check out this team, be sure to check that out. So I really like that they went into an official breakdown. They talked about what Scizor does well, what Ogerpon's for, what Salamance's job is, what the Booster Flutter's job is. I really love how in detail they went in this write-up, and it really is going to help me fix the team. I've already read the write-up, but it's going to definitely help me fix exactly what I think needs to be fine-tuned for this team. If we take a look at some of the EVs and stuff for this team, let's reconnect right here. Reconnect up right here. This team actually looks really, really good on paper. A lot of the EVs are pretty good. A lot of the spreads are really good. A lot of the Terras are really good, but I think it can be slightly optimized. I think the biggest thing we're going to be fixing with this team is fixing more how to approach specific matchups, as opposed to just here's the right EV spread for this situation, go nuts. It's going to be a lot more of a mindset fix. We're analyzing your opponent's team preview, seeing what their items are, seeing what they can do, and then stopping them from being able to play the game that they want and having the right mons in the back to close out each matchup. So if that sort of team building guide seems like something you're interested in, sit back, max relax, grab a snack or a drink, and yeah, let's just hop right into this game using this super, super cool Scizor Salamence team. Wish me luck. Here we go. Most of that team is pretty standard, but there's a Garg over there. There's a Garg. Okay, so Ogerpon kind of crushes that guy. Urshi kind of crushes that guy. Garg, a relic of Season 1. How are we going to deal with this? The first thing I like to do when looking at an opposing team like this is I like to see where are their items. Garg's probably going to have the leftovers. Amoonguss is probably going to have a Rocky Helmet or maybe even a Mentor, because the Ensign is probably holding a Citrus. If it is like Citrus Amoonguss, we can deduce that the Ensign would have a vest here. Ogerpon has to have the Wellspring Mask. Urshifu probably has Sash or Scarf, depending on what set it is, if it's Dark or Water, and then Flutter would have either a Booster, maybe even a Sash, or a Specs, right? So those are pretty common items on these guys. Knowing a little bit more about what items they are, tell us a little bit more about what their sets are going to be. I think that Clear Amulet Scizor is going to be very, very nice here. It's good into Garg. It's good into a lot of things. I actually think that I prefer Grass Terra on my Scizors. I know it sounds really weird, especially, but if we have a Water Pond as a teammate, I really prefer Grass Terra on the Scizor because it's good into Amoonguss. You can just sit in front of a lot of Amoongusses and be in a really good spot. You don't really want to fight Ensigns anyways. You shouldn't be trying to do it. So I think we're going to bring Scizor in the mid game. I'm going to lead Salamence. I'm going to lead Urshifu. I'm going to bring Scizor. And then as for the Water Pond, I'm actually going to not bring my Flutter. I don't think Flutter's great here. I think I really like Talonflame. A little bit of mid-game speed control, but it can pin their Urshi, it can pin their Flutter, it can pin their Water Pond, it can pin their Amoonguss. Talonflame's a very, very aggressive and good mon in this format. And I'm done pretending like it isn't. Mon's super, super cool. The set that you have on your Talonflame, by the way, that's using Shark Beak, I really like it. I actually think that this would be better off with an orb, and this would be better off with a Shark Beak. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. So here we go. So Garg and Ensign. I think we're okay here. I think we're low-key fine. We don't want to get Salt Cured on either of these. But at the same time, how much do I care? You're going to go fake out Salt Cure, right? So I can just double protect this first turn. What else are you going to do? I do not mind a double protect to make you waste your fake out. And then next turn you're oh crap, I'm going to have to take damage. We can just double into the Ensign. And then once the Ensign's gone, the things that check Scizor are donezo. Cool, there's the fake out. Now let's see who you're Salt Curing. Hopefully you're not subbing or doing some sort of weird Iron Defense play and going Ferroterra. It's just Salt Cure, right? And who are you respecting? You're respecting Urshi. And the fact that they're respecting Urshi tells us a little bit about their team as well. It tells us that they might have something that's weak to Urshi on their team. So maybe they have Amoonguss. That kind of tells me that maybe they don't have Flutter, you know? But hey, that's just a game theory here. Let's see, what are my Terras on this team? Do I have Dark Terra Urshi? I do. I can just absolutely melt some of those guys. I can save my Intimidate. I actually think that the right play here, this is going to sound super weird, I like the EQ plus the -1 close combat self-EQ into my Urshifu. I think when you have teams like this, it actually comes down a little bit more into how you play them more than how you build them, right? Because normally, like, self-EQ isn't the right play, but I know that because I'm intimidated, I'm not going to do as much to myself. I'm going to keep myself out of range of your Citrus Berry. I'm going to be able to take out your Incineroar. Like I said, that just unlocks Scissor's ability to, like, win the game. I didn't have to waste the Terra. We know what slot you would like to Salt Cure, which means we were already going to lose our Sash anyways. Like, honestly, an Urshifu that's at this health, that's taking out from Salt Cure, is effectively the same as an Urshifu who's at 99% health that just had its Sash broken. So I think this is a great spot for us. Those are leftovers like we see. And remember, Urshifu goes through Protect. They can't play passive. They can, but they can't, you know? I think we're still fine. I think if we see... I'd be surprised to see Flutter here, but if we do, we just pivot out Urshi for Scizor. There it is. Hey, cool. We're fine. It's almost like I played a game. So I'm just going to Protect Sally for a turn, because I can. No reason not to. Pivot in the Scizor. If they're gamers, they're double Salt Cure in that same slot, but I doubt they're doing that. I mean, it would be a good play. It'd be an absolute good play. You could actually even just, like, Dazzle and still target that same Urshi slot, knowing full well that, like, a Dazzle would KO the Salamence. So let's see what they do here. It doesn't really matter to me if Scizor sticks a Salt Cure either. I will say that, like, you're using a Clear Amule on Scizor. I kind of like Covert Cloak, and it'd be really funny that it would work really well here as well, because it mitigates that secondary effect of the Salt Cure. But let's see what they're doing here. There's the Dazzle like we talked about. Nice, nice, nice. And, Scizor's going to eat that pretty well. That's Specs Flutter, by the way. And recover. Absolutely okay. Now, that's another benefit of us actually getting to do that Earthquake play. We stuck a lot of damage on the Garg. We basically stole a free turn. And so now we threaten this Flutter, but we also heavily threaten the Garg. So the Flutter's either going to A, Terra, or B, pivot to something. Remember, the Incineroar's gone, so it's going to be Wellspring, which means we could just read that and pounce KO it right here. I think what I'm going to do, though, is just... I think I'm going to Dragon Dance here, because I think I could Dragon Dance and Bullet Punch. There's nothing really wrong with that. Or what I could do is pivot in my Urshi back on this slot, save my Sally. I don't think there's anything wrong with saving Sally, but no, you know what? We'll just respect the Flutter. I think I'm going to respect the Flutter and double into that slot. I'm going to go Bullet Punch and Dual Wing Beat. This way, if you swap in Water Pond, you just lose it. Same thing goes for like an Amoonguss. And then I just Bullet Punch again, right? Because you have to bring that Flutter back out. So you should be losing any of your mons here. Urshifu, Amoonguss, Water Pond, all three of them go down to this play, as long as I hit my Dual Wing Beat. It's a good play. So let me hit. Let's go. It's me. Oh, look at that damage. Oh, yeah. And then you bring the Flutter right back out. You can stick this Dual Wing Beat. You can stick the Salt Cure, but yeah, dude, we got those. So again, like I was talking about, I think when, you know, watching me do these videos for these team building guides, I think this team's almost perfect, but I think it really does come into how you play it and understanding the tells that your opponent's giving you, right? Every single like action has like a reaction. Every single play that they make, every single mon that they show and lead and, you know, pivot that they do has a cost that shows, like, again, them over-respecting Urshi basically told me that they had like a more reactive mon in the back, and that was going to be Water Pond. The fact they sent out the Flutter there and against a team that had Scizor makes me know that they have like the Water Pond as a pivot in that situation, and so we were able to just double into it, right? So yeah, let's just go for, doesn't really matter what we do with Sally here. Yeah, I think that Sally's just going to pivot in for Urshi. Want to be able to come back in unintimidated and then just go Bullet Punch right into that Flutter, and we're pretty sure the Flutter is spexed, so it shouldn't be able to protect. Nice. Pretty sure it's spexed. We haven't even terrored this game, right? Let's go. Oh my gosh, you couldn't even see it. There's the BP, baby. Let's go, Scizor. Big damage. I wouldn't even have brought Flutter this matchup, honestly. If I was them, I don't know why they brought the Flutter. They should, like, I understand, like, having Flutter with, like, Water Pond, but, like, Water Pond doesn't even really do that much to Scizor either. Like, it doesn't. You know, I actually really like Dragon Terra on Scizor in a lot of situations, too. You don't really necessarily need Water Terra either, in my opinion, just because, well, you don't really need Water Terra because, like, most things you'd be wanting to mitigate, like fire damage, you can mitigate with that with Dragon, and then Dragon would also help versus, like, Fire Pond. So that's another idea. Urshi was going to get KO'd here, but we're fine. We're just going to, dude, I could just dump truck that guy. Dude, I'm going to do it. I want to do it. And just pivot in the Sally. and then set up a board state where we can just Earthquake next to Talonflame. They're probably protecting, which is like wrong, but it's fine. Like I could go BP and the Wicked Blow. They wouldn't be able to live like the Recover and everything like that, but let's just see what they do. Again, not really doing anything else in this game, but I feel like going the Dark Terra. I actually like the Dark Terra, like, Adamant Urshifu here on the Sash, but I still think you should be Jolly. And I'll talk about why when we get into the team building, but basically, like, it'd be nice to be able to hit things twice, you know? Being able to be undersped by Dragonite, like, if you lead in a Dragonite and they're, like, full speed Jolly, like, oh my god, it's game over. Same thing goes against Gyarados. So there's our Terra here, so this is going to be Fairy. Flying. Okay. Hey, good play. Flying's a good type. But now I can hit it with Talonflame for like big Sharp Beak boosted Brave Bird damage. So good stuff. Look at this damage though. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so much. And they can stick Assault here. That's the right play. I really like that for them. Let's see. What Mon do I want to use here? Because Urshi's going to tick out this turn, right? Or am I wrong? I think Urshi does tick out. I think I'm going to bring out Talonflame, and I think I'm going to Dragon Dance and Brave Bird. Because you can't stop both. Can't stop both. The salt hath been cured. Oh, we're alive. Oh, that's super game then. Like, bro, you just donezo right here. Wicked Blow these though. And you know what? I ain't doing anything else today. This is gonna be cool. Yo, we just do the Dragon Dance, dude. Dragon Dance Salamence, dude. That's what I'm talking about. One of my favorite sets. Alright, and then Wicked Blow should just be able to get the KO. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, they weren't gonna protect, but hey. They're probably trying to recover, right? But it doesn't even matter. We do about 55% here with this Wicked Blow because we're Adamant. I wonder if they're EV trained to live the Jolly Wicked Blow. So maybe the Adamant is really good. Maybe I need to learn a thing or two. But that's the first game. We're going to go into a couple more. But hopefully you guys learned something. It's a lot. There's nothing really wrong with like Earthquaking your own teammates sometimes if it gets you a lot more than you lose, right? We didn't need our Urshifu. We know that we were going to lose our Sash based off that double protect play that scouted out their fake out. We were playing patient. We analyzed what they wanted to do, and we dangled the win just out of reach. We basically lost our own Sash, and we chunked their Incin, kept it right out of citrus range, chunked the Garg, forced the recover later, and we're able to just have full control of that game the whole time. And yeah, it was a great first game, and let's just go into another one. All right, here we go. So let's take a look at this one. Let's do that same exercise that we did in the last one where we take a look at what their items are going to be. Flutter's common items are things like, you know, booster energies and specs. So if we don't see booster, we're going to assume it's specs. It could still be Sash, but those are very uncommon. Archaludons are usually built with either a Power Herb if they're not on rain teams. This one is on a rain team, so those are usually built Vest to enable Electro Shots. Urshi's going to be built Sash or Scarfed. Looks like Urshi Dark here. Just looks like it to me, so it's probably Sashed. Incins are usually built Vested or Citruses. I think this is probably a Citrus, but it could still be Vest. We have to watch out for that. Pelipper is going to be built probably Sash here. I think, or maybe not Sash. Maybe Damp Rock. Maybe Covert Cloak. Pelipper can also be built with like Rocky Helmet as well. Got to watch out for Pelipper. Pelipper is the Enigma here. And last but not least, Amoonguss could be built like Mental Orb or Rocky Helmet. Even Citrus is good, but I think the Citrus is probably on the Incin. We'll be able to see a little bit based on what else they're going to get done here. I do not really like fighting Archaludon with this team. I think we need to lean heavily into Urshifu, and they're probably going to go Fairy Terra, which means we have to bring Scizor in the back. So Scizor in the back is still a really, really solid option. That being said, what do we want to lead with to bully the Pelipper off of the battlefield, basically? I think we're going to lead Flutter here. I'm not a big Flutter guy. I think Flutter Urshi is probably my best bet, and then Scizor. And we're going to bring the Salamence because that's like what we're trying to feature. But you see, we have just enough time to like fully analyze all of their items, talk about what we need to bring them back to secure our win cons. We're trying to lead with very specific mons that force Terra options out of our opponents. And in doing so, hopefully we can get the results that we want here. So let's see what their leads are. Their leads are going to be Urshi Water. So Urshi Water. So Urshi Waters are more commonly built Scarf. And the fact that we have a Flutter here, this Flutter main should be outspeeding. Let's see if they outspeed us as well. Let's see if they boost or anything like that. So we have 132 speed. They didn't booster on their Flutter, so that means their specs. We have 189 speed on our Flutter, which is fast enough to Icy Wind correctly. So we can actually just do like Dazzling Gleam and try and just OHKO the Urshi, like Fairy Terra Dazzling just does it. I also really like this Icy Wind here into like a full Wicked Blow Dark Terra, just absolutely pop it like it's hot. I kind of like that, dude. I kind of dig it. And then if you Water Terra me and hit my Flutter main, well, I already stuck the speed drop on you, and then Urshi just comes in and does it again. So I vibe with this a lot, as long as I hit the Icy Wind. Let's go. That's fine with me. Dude, something's taking fat damage here. They know what I'm about. Here we go. Pelipper, I'm so happy to get this thing off the board. As long as I have this Icy Wind, it breaks Sash on it too. Again, I'm thinking this is Scarf Urshi. And this is their Terra first. They're going that Water Terra like we talked about. They can totally go into my Urshi Dark. Oh, Grass Terra. Super effective Icy Wind. Yes, please. Grass Terra is really cool. They're doing this just to lose their weakness to Fairy, by the way. So we're going Terra, they're going Terra. They can KO either of these mons with the Surging Strikes in the Rain. But if we stick this, Icy Wind, we should be able to at least be forcing Speed Ties, because they're usually built Adamant on Scarf, just like we are. So let's see what we got here. Survey says Icy Wind, the correct play. Breaks that up. Oh my gosh, so much damage here. Speed drop on Pelipper, so this is not cloaked. And let's see, are we getting that big hit? We are getting the big hit. Pelipper down for the count. Pelipper's, like I said, such an enigma. Pelipper going, oh my god, it didn't go down. Are you Rocky Helmet then? You are. Good play. I love that for you. That's so sick. Like, I'm proud of you, bro. That's the right way to play that Pokemon. So the fact that we see Rocky Helmet here means Mungus is not going to have that item. Citrus is looking very, very good on Amoonguss right now. That would mean that, like, maybe the Instin's vested, so just got to watch out for that. That being said, what do we really want to do here? If we made it so that Icy Wind comes in, this means Salamence should be able to outspeed that Urshi. Yeah, we got Jolly Sally, dude. My guy, my king, Jolly Sally. Yeah, let's go. So we should be able to threaten anything that we really want here. I'm actually just going to double. Ooh, let me actually think about this. Surging Strikes. They can get my Urshi off the board. But if I were to Dragon Dance here, I'm trying to think of a board state where I get the Pelipper off the board, lose my Urshi on purpose, get a Dragon Dance out of it, they bring out their Flutter, and then I go Scizor. But I kind of need this Urshi to break their Archaludon. I have an idea. Alright, so I'm actually going to Dragon Dance. And I'm going to Wicked Blow their Urshi. And I'm going to let their Pelipper do whatever it wants. It can Tailwind, I don't really care. And if I have to pivot out for Scizor and to beat the Flutter, so be it, right? This is the thing I wanted to hit. Urshi's getting its job done. Urshi's doing its stuff. I need this speed boost to be able to outspeed that Flutter main in the back. That's why I did this. This is going to do a lot here. You're probably just Hurricaning anyways into the Urshi, which, like, if I'm getting this damage in here, I don't need anything else, right? I really like that pivot from them, too, because they're going to try and get that speed boost back on their Urshifu that they had Scarf on earlier. Tailwind's totally fine. We have priority, right? We have Sucker Punches. We have everything that we need here. Sucker Punch probably actually doesn't KO that Archaludon, though. Earthquake does, though. They're going to Dragon Pulse me, right? Is there a problem with Double Protect? I don't think there is. Just start waiting out the speed control just a little bit. They're not going to Electro Shot this turn. I think they're going to show Deep Pulse. Let's see it. Yep. So you got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. Got to know when to run away. And there's a Hurricane. So I'm going to Sucker Punch that Pelipper, pivot in my Scizor, soak the Deep Pulse. They can bring in Urshi or Flutter. They're going to bring in the Urshi. I'm going to Sucker Punch that thing too. And then those are my shots here, right? Bam. Nice. You gotta know when to hold them. There's a good shot that Salamence actually outspeeds those guys too at +1. Because, like, Pelipper's like a base 65. Archaludon's base 85, but it's not really built that fast. I didn't want to risk it, though. I didn't want to risk it. So we'll just take this thing out. They should be going into the Salamence slot, because, like, it is threatening. Like, it is. They're being threatened. If they want to go into the Urshi, I'd re-bring out the Salamence, you know, and then probably lose the game. Let's see what they got. Dragon Pulse into Sally. There we go. Cool. Not bad, not bad. A little bit of damage. Never hurt anybody. Now, you could bring out your Urshi here, but both of my mons do a really good job at mitigating the damage that it deals. I just need to wait out your Tailwind, which I cannot do very well. I don't think I lose the Scizor to the Electro Shot. Last turn of Rain. I could pivot out Scizor for Sally and go for my Sucker Punch play and then save it. And that way you could never do your Rain unless it's a Damp Rock Pelipper, which, no, we already saw it was Rocky Helmet. Last turn Tailwind. You know what? You're going after the Urshi slot. No, you're going after the Scizor. You're going after Scizor. But, like, does my Urshi KO the Urshi with a Sucker Punch? It's such a hard sell, right? I think that we do. Suck these. Now, I could have went Bullet Punch plus Sucker Punch to guarantee that KO on that Urshi, but I do not want to lose my Scizor. If I lose the Scizor, I think I lose the game. Let's go. Show me that Electro Shot. Sucker Punch. Oh my gosh, he's still alive. How unlucky. How unfortunate. I'm not dead yet, but I'm not in a good spot either. Shoutouts to Intimidate. Okay. It's potentially the last rain turn. They're going to go for the Electro Shot. If they don't break my Salamence, that's actually kind of nice. Right? I'm not going to lie. It's kind of nice if they don't break my Sally. Electro Shot, but I think they do. This is just a full speed Sally. Unless they're going to the Urshi. I wouldn't be mad at that. Actually, I win the game if they do that. So that's game. Yeah. Cool. So we're going to bring out Scizor. Scizor pins Flutter. EQ pins Archaludon. We win the game. We have to EQ our own Scizor, but they can't protect with either of these mons. I think they're both choiced. Or the Flutter's choiced and the Archaludon's vested. So Tail and Peter's out. We waited it out. Yeah, I said Pelipper, man. Pelipper's the crazy mon here. Happens every time. Pelipper has like 8 different moves it can use. It can be 252 in all of its stats. But this should be good here. EQ. And Bullet Punch. Again, EQing our own Pokemon is the path to victory. And what do you got? You're going to pivot into like a 1 HP Urshi Grass? I don't know about that one, Chief. And let's see. I think the Salamence KOs with a Life Orb. A Life Orb EQ, even at +1 defense, should still get the KO. But let's see. Scizor's in the right spot. I can't believe they ignored Scizor that last turn. They did. They doubled into Urshi Dark. I can't believe that. Pivot out there. Hey, cool. Works for me. Works for me. And this is going to be EQ, baby. Bam. Yeah, they know what I'm about. So Sash down over there. Or not Sash, but sorry, Terra down over there. Grass Terra down. And what you got, buddy? What you got, Archaludon? EQ. Bet you wish you had that Grass Terra. Oh my gosh, we take those all the way to the bank. That's what we like to see. Cool. And so they're going to want to like Dazzle. I think what we want to do here is we do not want to click Earthquake again, right? You want to just click Dual Wing Beat here because they can't both Dazzle and stop us from like double tapping them for Bullet Punch, even if they were sashed for like some crazy reason, which I think they're spexed. Again, I don't know why these people are bringing Flutter main to fight the Scizor guy, but Scizor's like such a good mon right now. Let's get that win. BP, you got that sash? Nope, it's spexed. So we are going to take those wins. Again, that little exercise that we worked on at the very start, like trying to analyze their items and theory craft what mons you need to use in the back based off what their items tell us that they're trying to do. Super, super important. We even guessed the Urshi wrong, and we were still definitely able to secure the victory in that situation. So that being said, what I'm going to do here is start taking a look at the actual team. We can see that right here, and just kind of start going over the things that I liked, the things that I didn't like. And we'll go back to the rental code one more time because I think this rental code is like really, really good. You guys can definitely try out this rental code. There's nothing at all wrong with this team. You saw how easy it was to control both of those games. So yeah, we'll take a look at the rental code one more time, which is right here. And start reviewing it. So yeah, this is the team right here. I love this team. A lot of these sets are sets that are taken from my Patreon. I think I've featured a lot of these sets before. The Scizor set's really, really cool. The Ogerpon is the right mon in this team. It really helps us counterbalance like that big weakness that like Scizor has to like fire types and other fire types that we give Pokemon like Talonflame. Like Incineroar gives Talonflame a hard time being able to pivot in that Ogerpon to mitigate damage and then repin those fire types. Very, very solid. Salamence is fun to play. I think we're going to tweak its set just a little bit. Flutter main really, really solid with that speed control. Secondary speed control being it so Talonflame and Scizor don't have to do all the work. Urshi is a good mon to close things out with. And yeah, I think that if you were to just use this team in a tournament, you would get some pretty decent results. I would say in like a 7-round tournament, this is at least like a 4-3-ish team with the potential to go 5-2 if you have good matchups. Your opponents keep bringing those flutters. But that being said, we can definitely still optimize some things. And I just wanted to thank you for submitting the team. So here we go. Let's start taking a look at this. I don't think you need Water Terra here, especially because you have a Water Pivot, right? I think that in most situations where you would want to be using Water Terra, you're mitigating fire damage. And for mitigating fire damage, there are multiple different Terras that can do the same thing. I would recommend Dragon Terra on this Scizor because it's going to help, especially in that Fire Palm matchup. It's going to help against Urshi Waters. It's going to help against so many different things. All the things that you would be really stopping with Water Terror, you do with Dragon. And then you think like, well, you're gaining a fairy weakness. It's like, yeah, but you beat the fairies before they can hit you, right? So I think Dragon Terror is better as defensive on Scizor. And you know what? I was thinking I liked Bug Bite more than Pounce. And we didn't get to use Pounce in any of the games, but I do really like Pounce as a secondary form of speed control, being compared with like the Icy one on the Flutter and the Talonflame with like the Tailwind. So I like this Pounce. You can keep it. Just think about maybe using Bug Bite to be able to catch those Insins on the switch-ins, take their Citrus Berry, and then remember they don't intimidate you, so you just do it again and they're still gone. Right? So it's an option. That being said, Swords Dance Bullet Punch here, another good option here if you wanted to. Again, most of the things we're going to be talking about in this little team fixing part are going to be just different like matchup ideas. Again, this team's really, really solid. There's not that much to fix, but just how you approach matchups, I might be able to help a little bit in that department. U-turn could be a very, very solid option here as well. Just being able to pivot correctly, being able to bring in those Salamence Intimidates for free, soak a little bit of damage, bring in that Salamence safely. Maybe you have like an Ogerpon teammate and then go for a Follow Me, Dragon Dance. Really, really solid stuff if you want to think about going down that route, but I think it's a solid set. This Eevee spread, though, it's a little bit dated. You don't need this much speed in Scizor anymore, and this HP set is made to utilize a Life Orb. That's why it ends in 9. So actually, you can take a little bit out of speed. You can only need 91, because this is going to be able to outspeed Genies at +2 if you have like a Tailwind up, or if you've stuck like 2 Icy Winds or 2 Pounces. This is going to be able to outspeed those guys. This is the lowest amount of speed I would say you need on Scizor. Scizor has a 65 base HP, which means you're still outspeeding Incineroars as well. If you wanted to have more speed on your Scizor to be able to outspeed even the fastest Incins, that's another reason why you could have the 60, but you only really need 44, which means these are just extra points, and Scizor has a much lower base HP than either of its respective defenses, so you just put the rest of those points in HP. So you just get a little bit more HP out of your Scizor. Clear Amulet's cool. You could also think about using like a Covert Cloak. We talked about that a little bit earlier, but I think this is a good set. Ogerpon. Ogerpon's a bit of a weird mon. I think that this is a decent looking set, but you need a little bit more speed. You need to be able to outspeed an Urshi Water. So we're going to take a look, and a couple other things. We're going to take a look at Urshi Water. This is a damage calculator on Pokemon Show. That's one of the cool things about these little guides is if you guys want me to take a look at your teams, fix them, go into guides, show you guys the spreads, show you guys how I do it, think about checking out the Patreon, link in the description. Even the $2 tier, the lowest tier gets access to all this stuff. So again, we're checking out Urshifu. We're going to be checking out Urshifu Rapid Strike because that's one of the things that like we're basically using Ogerpon to beat. And we're going to be plugging in like a full speed 252 Jolly Urshifu, right? So it gets to 163, which means you want to be able to outspeed that with Ogerpon like anytime. Because you can't like Horn Leech it. You can soak the damage, but that means they can always U-turn against you. And you don't really want that. So you want to always be able to outspeed that. That being said, you also want to be able to outspeed a couple other things. We're taking a look at other popular Pokemon. We're sorting this by speed tier, going all the way down. We need to be able to outspeed Urshifus, which are 97s, I believe, right? And there's a lot more Pokemon that are above this 97. So, yeah, we want to be able to outspeed Urshifu, right? But we also want to be able to outspeed things like Iron Crown. We want to be able to outspeed Hydreigon, Pheasantipity, Zapdos. Look at all these base 100s. Both Zapdos forms, Volcarona, Salamence, Tauros is still usable, Regigigas, Entei. These are all very popular Pokemon. And then from here, I think you want to go all the way up to Landorus is what you would like to outspeed. So Landorus is going to be a 101. So plug in Landorus. Make sure it's the base Landorus form, which has a higher base speed than the Therian. Give it a 252 Timid. So this is the thing you want to outspeed. You want to get to 169, right? You could also even go one speed faster than that, up to 170 to outspeed Garchomp. I don't think you need to outspeed Garchomp because like we do a pretty good job in a Garchomp with Water Pond in the first place. If anything, you might want to soak damage risk Garchomp so you can actually Horn Leech it to get some health back. Because Garchomp doesn't threaten us like Landorus does with like a Poison Terra Sludge Bomb. So we're going to do 169 on this guy. 169 is what we need to get to, which means we're going to take a lot of these points out of bulk because you just have to. It's one of those situations where we also have to be jolly, right? So we're going to get to 169, being able to outspeed that Landorus by 1 point, right? So 188 is what you want there. 76 is actually the right attack that you needed, but it didn't need to be adamant. You get the same number of rolls. Like, let's just plug this in right here. So let's go back to that Urshifu. So you're going to be able to greatly threaten like a Rapid Strike Urshifu right here. Let's go Wellspring Mask. Ogerpon Wellspring, set this to 50, give ourselves 76. So we have a 120 base like attack. It's humongous for this guy. And let's go Horn Leech. And so you can see we already get like a 2-shot on that Urshifu, and even if we're intimidated by an Incineroar, it's still roughly a 2-shot every single time. So it's a 99.6% chance to get that KO every single time. So we don't really need to put like a ton of investment. Like even if we put like a 252 in, that wouldn't KO. You know, it cannot KO if you want to go full investment. So there's no reason to go like heavy attack investment on a water pond. This is what you need. Throw a 4 right there, 4, 12. Nothing really wrong with the 12 right there, and just throw the rest right in HP. Nothing really wrong with that. This is a good set. If you want to keep that 12, it's just extra credit. Gives yourself an extra little. Remember, when you gain the Wellstring, you get the +1 boost to your Spadef. So that extra 1 point you have in there is going to give you like an extra point as well. So good stuff. I like this set. Solid. Just make sure you're going to be able to outspeed Lando with it. Salamence. Salamence is one of those really weird mons where I think that like you kind of have to go full speed. We already just talked about all the things you have to outspeed, and it is still worth it to outspeed all of them. I like the move set. I like it. I didn't think I was going to like it as much. I do like it, but I don't think you need the Life Orb. We're already using the Clear Amulet. You could put something like a Covert Cloak there and just let yourself not care about Fake Out, but I think that the Sharp Beak is actually better here. This is one of the few times you're going to see me recommend this Sharp Beak. And I know we're using the Sharp Beak on Talonflame, but we're going to talk about this. Salamence uses Intimidate, right? Salamence has some decent bulk, and you don't want to take that bulk away by utilizing a Life Orb. Basically, this thing's not going to get one-shotted by like neutral moves. It's going to take like 80% from like most things. And if you're taking 80% from most things, that means if you get 2 attacks off, you're just dead, right? And you don't want that. The main move that you're going to be using with this guy in almost every single situation is dueling UV anyway. So you might as well just use a Sharp Beak here, right? I like the Fire Terror to be able to mitigate damage from Flutter mains and stuff like that. So I value this. But that being said, this is better. You can also just cut up your EVs like a little bit into like a 244-44. It's just a little bit more optimal, just slightly. It's basically keeping the whole idea behind your Salamence, but now you don't have that recoil factor that you did before, and you're just gonna have a little bit more sustain, and you still do the big damage with your dual wing beats after the Dragon Dances, which is the whole idea behind this mon. So I like it a lot. If there was something specific that you had Life Orb Earthquake for, let me know in the comments, and we can like or let me know in the comments or on Patreon, and we can theory craft another set, maybe put the Life Orb back on, maybe go into like an expert belt route, maybe even go into like a full support bulkier set with like Citrus could work too. But I think this is how I would play the Salamence based off with the team, the whole synergy behind the team. Taking a look at the Flutter here. Flutter set seems fine. This is kind of how I would run Flutter if I were to run a Flutter that had like this much speed. That being said, you want to get the speed boost, right? So you have to put points into speed with the nature, and like it makes sense, right? I understand what this Flutter set's bringing to the table. I don't think you need this much special attack, but at the same time, like I'm sure you watch my content, right? I like this much special attack on my Flutters, so I vibe with this. I super do vibe with this, but just know that even if you have the Intimidate, your Flutter is still going to be more of like a glass cannon. And so if you need even more speed, don't be afraid to click the button and just go full 252, 252, use this same set here, and just go to town. I like the Power Gem here. I think another option here you could use is something like Sub, something like Taunt, something a little bit more supportive, because you're going to be clicking this, you're going to be clicking this. One thing that I think you just should have here is Shadow Ball. I mean, maybe I'm basic, but like this is kind of what I like here. And then the last thing that I think is really important for Flutters like this is I actually go Ghost here. You may be thinking, what? Go Ghost? No, I want the damage on my Dazzling Gleam. Well, you don't have any damage multipliers. You don't have a Specs. You don't have a booster special attack. You don't have a Life Orb. You're not really getting that much value. And if anything, like that Fairy Terra can be bait. But there are specific reasons why you want that Shadow Ball. So let's plug in a Flutter main. So let's plug in a Flutter main. And let's plug in a Flutter main. So when we see other people's Flutter mains, and we're in that late game, and we've forced our opponent to tear out with something else throughout the game, you could say, well, if I have a 252 Flutter and I click Shadow Ball, right, I do a lot of damage to their Flutter. Heck, I might even KO it if they're a sweeper set, but a lot of Flutters nowadays. Like, let's just plug in the same Flutter set that we have, 116-4. That doesn't get the KO, right? But if we click the Ghost Terra button, now we can actually pin their Flutters with our Flutter if we preserved our Terra. It's really, really nice. It's also good into Goldango, right? Because Goldangos are built different. Let's take this Terra out here. So Goldangos are built, and they're like, yeah, dude, I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. And you're like, do you, though? I don't think you do. Yeah, sometimes they go Terra, but like, hey, they don't have to if they're built bulky, right? This punishes them for not tearing with their Dango. So if you can force their Terra on something else, like maybe they have another mon, maybe they want to go like Indie Goldango or something like that, and you can condition the Indie to like blow a Fairy Terror or something like that, then you just come in hot with this Flutter, you just mess it up. So this is one of those few situations where you really realistically wouldn't be terastallizing. You're not getting anything off that Dazzling Gleam boosted Fairy Terra, but you're getting multiple good things off this set. So I like it. And again, don't be afraid to click the button and go 252 special attack, 252 speed with nature if you want just a little bit more speed. If you're getting outsped by other booster speed flutters, that might be an option. And it's not the coward's way out. Like you need Icy Wind to work, right? You need this to work above all else. Otherwise, the set itself doesn't work. So just think about it. So Talonflame here. We're going back to this Talonflame set. This set right here, I think I've featured it before. It outspeeds Whimsicott by 1 point. So when you see a Whimsicott, you can just right in the kisser and hit him with the Brave Bird. If they're not Sash, you have a higher base priority speed than them because you have the Gale Wings. Really, really good stuff. Now, the thing about Talonflame, we had the Sharpbeak here. We switch the Sharpbeak over here. We're going to put the Life Orb those on Salamence over here. And I like this a lot because Talonflame has Gale Wings. You're already taking recoil from Brave Bird and Flare Blitz. But now we have the Life Orb, which is an additional 1.1 compared to the 1.2. It's a 1.3 as opposed to a 1.2 from the Sharpbeak. And it goes the same onto our Flare Blitz. Oh, it's so nice. You can melt so many different things with this. I really like this a lot. And I like this. I think this is good. You can also Covert Cloak this guy if you really wanted it, but I like the double damage multipliers. Talonflame, I'm sure you know already, is a glass cannon. It's going to go Ghost Terra. It's going to avoid those fake outs. You're going to pop something in the mouth like an Urshifu or like a Rillaboom or like an Amoonguss, and then you're just going to be done for a bit. And that's all this thing really needs to do. Good Mon, solid EV spread. You could make it so you have right here to take less damage from Life Orb at the end of every single turn. You probably want to put that into defense. So this is how I would play this Talonflame set. It's a good set. Talonflame's super underrated. Talonflame and Scizor are two of my absolute favorite mons. I really like Salamence as well. It's one of the reasons why I vibe with this team so well. On to the Urshifu. I think this Urshifu is doing a lot of things right, but I want to just give you an idea. I like Jolly here still. Now, I understand we won one of the games because we were adamant. But I think Jolly's better because you don't want to get outsped by like Lando Eyes or Gouging Fires, right? Imagine just getting outsped by Gouging Fire. That would be really bad. Like if you lead like Flutter Urshi and they lead Gouging Fire and get a speed boost and you Icy Wind them, they still outspeed you. And I don't like that. I'd still rather stick 2 Wicked Blows on something than like them hit me, I get my 1 Wicked Blow, then they hit me back. I'd rather Wicked Blow them, soak damage, and then Wicked Blow again, right? Than just get 1. So this is my opinion. I like the Jolly. If you want to go with the Adamant, more power to you, but I don't think you need the Adamant on this team. And that is just my opinion. You could even go with something like a Ghost Terror here if you wanted to avoid fake outs, but I think that's bait. Again, I think most of the changes we made to this team are very slight. We went Dragon Terror here, clean up the EVs a little bit. We cleaned up the EVs on the speed stat here. We cleaned up the EVs a little bit, changed the item. We talked a little bit about a different moveset with like Shadow Ball and Ghost Terra over the Fairy. We basically just cleaned up the EVs. Actually, did we clean up the EV? We cleaned up the EV just a little bit, changed the item to a Life Orb, and then I would go Jolly here. I would still go Jolly. So those are the changes I would make, but still, this rental code's good. If you want to use it, there's a link to it in the description, as well as the Poke Paste for the submitted team and the fixed team. Again, I really, really like this team. I just want to say thank you so much for submitting it. If you guys have a team you guys want to submit, think about checking out the official team submission post. It's on Patreon. Even the lowest tier, the $2 tier, gets access to all of this stuff on Patreon. This is where I post all my rentals. This is where I post my tournament teams. Every other day, there is a new team up on Patreon where I show how it works. I might show like a replay of like how I like to play it, and I work really hard on the Patreon. You know, January, February is really, really slow on YouTube. Same thing goes on Twitch. Any, additional support on that platform would greatly help me out. And I know I don't ask for favors that often, but hey, just think about checking it out if it's something that interests you and you want your team featured in a video just like this one where I give feedback. So that being said, we've already got a few people we're going to be taking a look at here. Also, again, I really like the detailed write-up here. It makes me understand your thought process behind your team building a little bit more. If you guys can go into as much detail as possible when you submit these teams, it really helps in my team building when fixing them. So again, thank you so much. Hopefully you enjoyed the team. Oh, I'm not even showing the Patreon. Here's the Patreon. I didn't even show it, yo. I didn't even show it, so there it is. Yeah, Patreon's up here. Think about checking it out, Professional shout-outer extraordinaire, THATSAplusONE. Yeah, think about checking out the Patreon. Like I said, there's posts every other day, brand new rentals, even stuff that I haven't shown in YouTube videos, that goes up there as well. We have a Patreon tab in our Discord, and any support there really helps me out. The team that I was talking about right here, FBomb09, is the first one that submitted this team, and I really like their write-up. So thank you so much for submitting it. Hope you like the team fixing. Hopefully you get some wins with the team, and other than that, thank you guys so much. Peace out. I'll see you guys next time.